Hey, I'm Anthony Romano, and this video is going to tell you all about the problem with modern day nootropic stacks. So these are brain supplements designed to enhance your performance in a lot of different areas, but a lot of these come from companies that are simply new to the market. They don't quite understand the mechanisms, and they're basically trying to capitalize on you and just rinse you out, but at the same time give you some benefit, but their formulations are misguided. A lot of them have problems, and I'm going to tell you what that is, but at the same time I'm also going to recommend a solution to you from a company that I'm partnered with, AZOTH. So granted, this is a company I've been promoting for a long time before we did any partnering together, but they are running a Black Friday to Cyber Monday sale, which you should totally take advantage of because it ends on Monday, and you can also use my coupon and AZOTH to take off an extra 15%. I'm telling you, these guys will ship stacks of supplements for bargain prices at this point, and you should totally take advantage of it, especially because this is from a company that actually knows what they're doing and they don't suffer from the problems I'm going to explain in this video. So I'll get into that in this video and explain to you some of the mechanisms, but keep in mind this is a topic that is very dense, and I don't even talk about it that much on YouTube because people need a little bit more of the terminology. They don't quite understand how these things work and what every single individual ingredient does. But as I've said many times before, I have tried basically every supplement out there. Like, it's scary. I have literally tried most of the nootropic stacks out there and compared them to these ones. I've tried every single ingredient. I have the ingredients on their own, and I take different doses, compare them. This is stuff I've dedicated myself to for a long time. You also might know that I never promote anything I don't fully believe in, even if there's a little detail wrong, even if there's one sweetener I don't like, one metal in the processing doesn't fit the requirement. I will never promote it. I might show it, but I will never tell you it's something I think you should try. However, these supplements are something that will offer a very powerful benefit to your life and your cognitive enhancement. So if you want to learn a load of information about nootropics in one video, stuff that people don't even explain to you in 20, this video will explain it to you, and I'm going to also use the problem with modern nootropics to kind of help you understand things. Let's get into the video, but before we do, if you could like it and share, that's all you have to do to help me grow my page. Even if you can't share the video, click like and YouTube will show my content to more people. Let's get into this one. So I'm going to start off by telling you some of the mechanisms and terminology of these nootropic supplements, because a lot of times I don't make as many videos on these things because the mechanisms go over people's heads and they don't know the terms to quite understand how these work, especially because you have to have tried a lot of them to understand. If you want to shortcut this and just get to a powerful nootropic that's actually going to benefit your life in a positive way immediately, I'm telling you, just take advantage of AZOTH sale, use my code ANTAZOTH, go to their website. They have 4 different products and multiple stacks that they will ship you that get certain results. They have a product called Total Memory, which definitely works out the kinks with a lot of these other nootropic supplements I'm going to be talking about. They also have Pure Energy and Total Focus, which is literally, these are minimalist ingredients that are meant to have isolated effects, and I highly encourage you to take them. My favorite one is probably Pure Energy, but you can get these in bundles for bargain prices. Seriously, I will never promote something I don't believe in, but I heavily believe in these guys, and that's why I'm being so adamant about you guys trying them out. Test them out before the sale ends, and on top of that, now I'm going to explain to you some of the mechanisms of common nootropics, and if you go to AZOTH's website, you will see how the ingredient formulations of these things do not fall from the same problems that a lot of these other companies that are inexperienced have. Okay, so let's get into some of the actual mechanisms of nootropics here and the terms you need to understand this video and the actual problems with these supplements. The first thing you need to know, with a lot of inexperienced nootropic supplement brands, this is a new area in the market, okay? So a lot of companies are taking the herbal nootropics that seem to work well and really having no discretion over how much of certain ingredients should be in there, the ratios. They haven't looked at the studies, they haven't experimented with all of the funky nootropics to really understand the cholinergic, dopaminergic, and other systems in the brain, okay? This video is going to focus on the cholinergic system and dopamine. So basically, dopamine is your reward response, okay? Now, choline, what the hell is the cholinergic system? Your brain creates a neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. This is the primary focus and flow state neurotransmitter. The way your body makes acetylcholine is from the B vitamin choline. It basically transforms this from phosphatidylcholine and it transforms choline into acetylcholine in your brain, and the more choline you have and the better efficient use of choline uptake into the cells in your brain, basically, you are going to have better flow state, better memory, better recall. That's how a lot of these things work. However, there are artificial nootropics that kind of stemmed the understanding of these systems in the brain. So if anybody's familiar with the racetam nootropics, these are artificial nootropics that modify the cholinergic systems in the brain. Basically, these are the things that have been studied for a long time. They've been around from Russian scientists designing them for astronauts, basically. And that's how we got more of these understandings of these mechanisms. But a lot of the problems come from this cholinergic system, okay? We know the problems of cranking out the dopamine system, okay? That's why, hard drugs will, which, I'm not going to say the names of because YouTube might demonetize this. Basically, think of the drugs in like movies or, Breaking Bad, things like that. Those drugs that are commonly known to have problems will burn out the dopamine system. They'll affect them in ways that basically make people dependent on certain things to get a reward response, right? Makes sense. That's something we do know. But cholinergic system, this is an area where a lot of supplement companies are just seeing these new ingredients and slamming them together because they think, oh, they treat it the same way they treat the dopamine. They treat it the same way they treat caffeine or other stimulants. They think, oh, more is better, right? It's linear. It is not linear. Choline supplements are about finding the right pinpoint, okay? It's almost circular and you got to find the right position and you got to have an optimal balance. It's definitely not a linear thing where it's just one-dimensional and you crank them up. If you do that, you will run into problems, and essentially, at the worst, you'll feel like crap in the moment if you have choline overload in the brain, and at the least, you might run into downregulations of certain cholinergic systems in the brain. So choline production, choline usage. Granted, in the long run, it will probably optimize, some systems in your brain, but there's a lot more nuance to it. It's not simply a linear thing unless you take a balanced amount. And from there, if you take an ingredient like Total Memory, which I haven't had access to, it's a new product, but I know the ingredients, I've taken all the ingredients in it already individually for years, that is a very balanced cholinergic supplement. And the thing is, the most common ingredient in a lot of nootropics, and they're actually throwing it into a lot of pre-workouts nowadays, is something called huperzine, huperzine A. Okay, this is an herbal compound that basically prevents acetylcholine in your brain, so that flow state neurotransmitter, from breaking down. So you have more of it swirling around and basically getting recycled better. So the way a lot of these choline supplements work, the pre-workouts, the nootropics, they will put in a choline source, and then they will put in something that modifies the usage of that choline, okay? If you understand this, you will understand how most nootropics work, okay? So essentially, if I put in choline itself, choline bitartrate, it's a moderately effective source of choline, a resource. But if I put in a better form of choline like alpha-GPC, acetylcholine, those are different forms of choline with higher bioavailability. A lot of them will use alpha-GPC because it's probably one of the most bioavailable sources. But other brands will use acetylcholine, which is basically also known as CDP choline, and it has a slight dopaminergic effect as well, so a slight reward response effect in addition to that flow state that choline will provide. So there's multiple choline sources, but again, understand there's the resources and then there's the usage, okay, the mechanism. So example, a lot of companies will put in huperzine, which is a ingredient that's actually in Total Memory, and it's in a very balanced dose, and this is something you have to be very careful of because huperzine in excess is a problem. This is one area that a lot of companies really mess up, okay? Again, it's commonly found in pre-workouts as well nowadays. Why? Because these companies have found huperzine, which is a powerful acetylcholine esterase inhibitor, which basically means it prevents acetylcholine, so the flow state neurotransmitter, from breaking down in your brain, leaving more swirling around, able to be more effectively used. And essentially, if you have more choline and a better usage of it, you've basically given yourself more fuel and a better engine, right? That's what you need to understand here with most of these nootropics. And whenever you're looking at a pre-workout or something, look at that as well, because a lot of times these pre-workouts will jack up the stimulants, and then they'll also throw in a load of huperzine, a load of a choline source, right? Those are different things you'll have to realize. But the main problem is that these nootropic companies that are inexperienced don't understand the cholinergic system enough, okay? Now, when we're looking at a comparison between, example, Total Memory from AZOTH, 100 micrograms of huperzine. Total Memory is a balanced amount of huperzine. There are some products that can have higher amounts. Like, example, this Havoc Neuro supplement from Athletic Alliance has a very high dose of huperzine. And it also has enough of the fuel, alpha-GPC, a choline source, to make sure that it's not imbalanced. However, even with a supplement like that, it is not something you should use 400 micrograms of every single day for extended periods of time. Why? Because A, it's too much acetylcholine esterase inhibition. And that basically leads to lots of choline swirling around in your brain, which is going to lead to lots of sort of racing thoughts, too much thinking going on. Okay? And that is something that basically, is meant to be used not every single day straight. Okay, that's not how huperzine and these other cholinergic supplements were meant to be used in high doses. You can absolutely use cholinergic supplements on a regular basis and they will optimize your mind, but you have to make sure the doses are right. This is why things like AZOTH, their flagship product, and Total Memory are something that you can actually use on a regular basis without dysregulating certain systems in your brain. On top of this, an ingredient like huperzine. Huperzine has like a 16 or 15 hour half-life, which means that it is in your body for a long time. If you are taking it every single day in high doses, you're going to have problems. So example, with a moderate, balanced, precise, pinpoint dose, like the one in Total Memory, for example, you are going to have an adequate amount to basically get the effect, and you're going to have it cleared out of your system in a way that's not going to lead to racing thoughts and all these other problems that people get from just super high, sky-high doses of these cholinergic supplements. You need a balanced amount, and from there, it's up to you to kind of fit together some of the pieces by, stacking it with some of these other products. The benefit of AZOTH, and partly why I'm bringing them into this focus of this video, is because not only are these products designed for people who've used them, they were also designed to be stacked together. So all the ratios of these certain ingredients are not meant to conflict with one another. So example, with Pure Energy, which is one of my favorite stimulating nootropics, and I personally believe it's going to be in every single pre-workout in 10 years, depending on how the patenting goes. This stuff is basically like caffeine, but it doesn't crash the adenosine system in the brain. So essentially, this is a stimulant that has no crash. It's very uplifting, and there's basically no foreseeable side effects unless somebody has 10 of them. Okay, you understand where I'm going with this. Everything has its limit. But the point is, something like this, which is very dopaminergic in a way, reward system in a way that's not going to imbalance you, combined with something like Total Memory, is basically a working mental processing fluidity nootropic stack. And that's sort of where, in consistent use over time, you will experience optimized brain function over the long run. I was speaking with a client of mine as well about nootropic supplements, and he was showing me some products that were in a store during a sale, and basically we were working on optimizing some things for him. But essentially, a lot of these nootropic supplements, again, they suffer from inexperience of these cholinergic systems. And again, they're just hopping into it because of the marketing capabilities of these new ingredients. This is newfound territory, uncharted territory, and these companies are competing to be the first people to bring these nootropics together. They're not going to be aiming at sustainable usage for people to have the best quality product they can. That's another reason why I'm so adamant about AZOTH. They're fantastic with, understanding that balance. But when we're talking about sustainable use of nootropics specifically, this is where you need balance. A lot of companies are simply trying to get out there and get people to have a crazy effect so they'll come back and keep buying the same product. But they don't realize that they're trading the short-term gain of customers for the long-term benefit of those customers, and that's what you have to prioritize here. As a side note, another prediction that I have for a lot of these companies going down the line, a lot of these supplement manufacturers, the ones that are inexperienced, is we're going to see a lot of supplements use huperzine. A lot of them already do. I guarantee you, if you tried more than one pre-workout this year, one of them probably had a crap load of huperzine in it. Why? Because they're trying to give you something that it's like, imagine if you just discovered caffeine. You would give it to everybody and be like, take a load of this caffeine, it's great stuff. Everybody's going to get wired off of it, and eventually they're going to have these adrenal fatigue symptoms, these burnout systems. You're going to have a similar level of burnout in your brain, and you need balance, precision, pinpoint accuracy. This is necessary for choline supplements, and you need a brand that understands this, which again is why I'm talking about AZOTH so much on this video. It's also a great, if I don't give you a contrast to understand where the benchmark is, you're not going to understand these other products, okay? But remember, that sales on to use my coupon code, AZOTH. Now, in 10 years, I believe a lot of these supplements that are new to the nootropic territory, and they're just jacking up their products full of cholinergics, they're going to be either regulated to have lower doses, or the companies themselves are just going to get smarter and realize that people work better with cholinergics by hitting the sweet spot, not by just jacking them to the roof as if it's stimulants, okay? It's circular, it's not linear. You have to hit the sweet spot, and that's an area where I believe AZOTH hits that sweet spot. So if you just want to jump ahead to 10 years in the future when products are already going to be hitting that sweet spot, just go to their website and get their products for cheaper. Okay, you can use my code, and besides that, I use these stuff on a regular basis. I have ordered their products for years before even partering with them. So it is a personal benefit for me and blessing for me to actually be working with a company I believe in. Okay, so that's something I recommend to you, and I'd recommend you take advantage of their sale. But hopefully this video gave you some insight into the problems with most modern nootropic stacks, even the ones that You see advertised on YouTube from popular podcasters who our names rhyme with Schmogan, okay? A lot of the other ones that are advertised in common, they do not compare. They simply, they're glorified choline supplements that don't understand hitting the sweet spot. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm just trying to run through this to give people something actionable to take home and to enhance your understanding of how certain supplements work, especially for the brain. Because keep in mind, a lot of this ties into nutrition. Getting more choline from high quality foods is going to benefit your brain. This will play in well to certain nootropic supplements you might use. And that's a topic I'll speak about in other videos. But at the same time, remember, throwing in ketogenic dieting, throwing in these blood sugar stabilizing activities is one, and in combination with nootropic supplements that actually have powerful effects that are not overdosed or underdosed. That is the sweet spot you want to hit. You will have stable productivity all day long for, months on end, years on end, if you can hit that balance. That's what nootropic supplementation is all about. So it's also a key that I've used, to really help me get better at many things in my life, including pumping out videos in between my other jobs and building this business, etc., helping people with their problems, all those other issues, brain injuries, diabetes, all that other stuff. So hopefully this video gave you some clarity, pun heavily intended. Like it, share it, subscribe, and go to my website, romanoketo.com, if you want to get a consultation with me personally, where we can work out all the different stuff, you should be trying to do nutritionally, fitness-wise, lifestyle-wise. It's, things of that nature to nail down a perfect action plan for yourself. That is something I offer in addition to coaching, but it's cheaper than coaching for people who don't want these sort of, constant, communication all the time at a higher price. So if that's something you're interested in, go to my website and also stay tuned for my programs. Down the line next year, hopefully I'm going to put out some more stuff on nootropics, especially content that's, purchasable, like books, that just gets right cutting through the BS. But this video hopefully gave you, a starting point. So thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Romano. Peace.